turn to page 203 for our informative explanatory writing tools. This section has 15 pages of different black line masters in which you can make manipulatives, charts, flip books, tools that we utilize during all the different steps that we walk the children through as they were learning how to write informative explanatory writing. What I'm going to do, because there are so many tools, is I'm going to show you how I prepare them and how I organize them so that you can grab those tools quickly when you're instructing your students. Informative explanatory writing is always going to have the same 3 parts: an introduction, a body, and a conclusion. So what I did was I organized all the tools into 3 file folders. As you can see, I put a little stick person at the front, and then I have 3 file folders here in this little holder so that I can grab the file for the introduction, body, or conclusion, depending on what I'm teaching. Every one of your chants have a stick person on it. I just drew this out on construction paper. The students are always seeing the stick person as that visual reference of introduction, body, conclusion. The first file folder, of course, is the introduction. And the tools for the introduction are going to be tools for hooks and tools for the big idea, which we call the topic sentence when we're writing paragraphs, or a thesis statement when we're writing multiple paragraphs, an essay. We have our introduction, our hooks, our big idea. Let me open up the file folder. What you see here is, again, I have my hooks and I have my big idea. And then in the pocket, I have, in this case, a flip book for the hooks. And over here, I have the manipulatives to create a big idea. Next, we have the body file folder with all the tools inside. Because the body has tools for the organizers, for details, and also transitions, it needs many pocket pages inside. The first pocket pages have the different tools to show the organizers for the students. Remember, all these organizers have a complete chapter to themselves for you to make these tools. The next pocket page is for our details. So I have my details tools in here. And finally, I have my tools for transitions, and I have them in a pocket by themselves also. This is our body file folder, which you can grab whenever you need to have tools for the body. This is our conclusion file folder, and the tools that we have in there are for our snappy ending. And I have my tools, a flip book, and a little chart card that I can show my students as we're working on our snappy endings. You've seen all the file folders. Let's go to the informative explanatory writing tools section in your manual so that we can get all the black line masters and put them together to create this system that I've just shown you. First, let's start with the introduction file folder. We'll go to the tools, I'll show you how to make them and how to put them in your file folder. When we open up our file folder, you'll see we'll look at the hooks first. On this page, we are focusing on our hooks. I have it as a step-by-step, step 1, step 2, step 3 system. After this video, you will see a whole hooks and snappy endings video where I will go into detail how to form this. This is only to show you how to prepare your tools. What you will do on this black line master is you can cut out all of these different stems that I have here on this page. And you will see there are 6 different categories of stems for you to use for children to start their hooks. You then can take those stems and mount them in a little flip book. All of these different types of stems that could start hooks would be put on a page in this flip book so that you could display them under your document viewer, or for students to just take as a manipulative for them to use to create their own hooks. I also have another tool for hooks. What I've done there is I've mounted that tool on a chart. This chart has been taken from the top of this black line master on this page and mounted on tag board. And these are just the different types of hooks students could use. Questions, onomatopoeia, interesting fact, humor, an emotional statement. These are the types of hooks that students could start their paper with. In our introduction, we covered our hooks. Next, we'll go to the big idea tools. Inside my file folder, I have my big idea tools. As you can see, these tools are going to be manipulatives that you will use to form your big idea. Notice I have our big idea secret formula. Each part of that formula is on one card. There's 3 pages to create these manipulatives. After I cut out the cards, mount them on tag board, I laminate them, and then I put magnets on the back so that I can record information on each card and I can put them up on a whiteboard and move them around to create the topic sentence. On this page, you will find the setting card. On this page, you will find the subject card. And finally, on this page, you will find the big idea card. These are all our manipulatives for our introduction. Prepare all your manipulatives, put them inside the pockets. When you're teaching the introduction, you can easily grab the pocket folder, grab the tools that you need to, and then put them back so that you can find them later. It's a handy way for you to organize your tools at the introduction level. Here's our body file folder. In our tools for the body, choose an organizer, write details, and add transitions. First, let's go to the choose the organizer. I'm showing you a couple of tools here, and you can decide which one you think would work best for your students. Let's start with our first tool here. Here's our Get Organized, Use the Hand Signs booklet. I've taken this booklet, the black line masters that are in your manual. I've duplicated these pages together, back to back, stapled them so I have a booklet. So that when I open up the booklet, I have the hand signs on the left side of the page and I have the organizer that matches it on the right side of the page. Let's go to the manual so that you can see all the pages that I put together in order to create this hand sign booklet. Please turn to page 131. On that page, you will see is the cover for our hand signs booklet. Turn the page, and you will see the hand signs for the categories as well as the organizer. And again, we're going to walk through all the different pages in this booklet. The description with its organizer. Sequence with its organizer. Flip to the next page. Cause and effect with its organizer. Flip to the next pages. Compare with its organizer. Flip to the next page. Contrast with its organizer. You would duplicate all these pages back to back, staple them together, and now you have a handy resource for you to show your children which organizer they need to use with the hand sign that helps them fill out that organizer, all in one simple booklet. In our section of Choose an Organizer, I just showed you the booklet, the flip booklet that you could make easily. I'm going to show you another booklet that I created. This takes a little bit more work, but I want to show you all the pages that are in your manual and how you could put this together as well. This organizational tool is going to show all 6 organizers on 2 pages with the transitions, with the hand signs, keywords, and explain what the different text structures are for these organizers. Then you flip the page and it shows just the organizers with the hand signs on 2 pages. So what you're getting here in this instructional tool is basically for the children to always see every organizer. The first 2 pages will just show every organizer but give keywords, transition words, and tell what the definition of each organizer. The second set of 2 facing pages is going to show the students the hand sign and the organizer there. It's larger for them to look at. This is put together with 2 file folders. Basically what I did was I took 2 file folders and I glued them together so that when you open them up, you have facing pages. And then when you open up the next set of file folders, you have 2 facing pages. And what I'm looking at the text structures with a lot of information, and then I go to the next 2 pages and I have those different organizers, but they're big. So the first 2 pages have the organizers on them, and it's small with a lot of information. The second 2 pages have the 6 organizers, but now they're large with the hand signs. The whole idea here is for kids to see them all together. Please turn to page 108, 109. Here you will find the first 2 pages of our organizational tool. Notice you will see that it will give you a definition. Like here we have the text structure, categories, and it gives you a definition. It gives you keywords that you would find many times when you're using a category organizer. Then it shows you the body of that organizer and the quick hand sign. You will then see for description, for sequencing, on the facing page, cause and effect, compare, contrast. It has the same exact information for those types of organizers. I like to use these 2 pages that I'm showing you more as a teacher reference so that I have the definitions, I have some keywords, I have a quick, at-a-glance, detailed information of all 6 charts. These are the 2 pages that you can use with your students to choose the correct organizer and have the hand signs in order to fill them out. Remember, this type of format is so that your students can see all 6 organizers at one time and figure out which one to select, then see the organizer and the hand sign to use in order to fill it out. Let's go to the manual so we can see this up close. On page 118 and page 119, you will see the 2 pages that you will put together in order to display all 6 organizers. Notice you have the organizer name, you have a quick definition, the hand sign, and what the organizer would look like. And in this case, it's not just the body, it also includes the introduction and the conclusion, so they see what the entire organizer looks like. Once your students choose an organizer for the body, then they need to start writing the details in the body. Let's look at our detail tools. I have 2 pockets for our detail tools. In my left pocket are the steps. It's a chart that I put on tag paper, and these are the steps that I follow to help students write details. And then in the following pocket, this little handy tool that I made, it has the start details on the cover, and then you open it up and it has expand detail tools. This way, when students are learning how to write details, they have a very large visual for them to follow the steps that are on the previous chart I showed, and also to expand their details and seeing a large chart for that as well. Let's go to your manual so you can see these tools up close. On page 210, you will find the steps 1 and 2, that you will walk through in order to write details. Details are very difficult for students to understand how to write because there's many skills involved for you to teach them how to write details so they have all the information they need in the body. That's the reason why I have a separate video for you in this section to go to that will actually walk through these steps and the tools for you to teach your students these skills. Please go to that video before you actually use these detail tools so that you understand how they work. On page 212 is a visual for students to follow in order for students to start their detailed sentences. We have our tell about or define starting details visual, and they will choose between one of these 2 to start their detailed sentences. On the facing page is the expand details. Once they start their details, then they need to decide if they need to add more information. This is where we have our describe, list, back it up skills that we want to teach students in order to expand their detailed sentences. On page 211 is a matching page for expanding details with words students could use when they are expanding those parts of the sentences. Next, we'll go to our transitions, our last pocket that we will have tools for writing details. Notice in this pocket, I have cards. What I've done is I've taken the different types of transitions depending on the type of organizer, categories, sequencing, cause and effect, descriptions, and I have these mounted on cards. So depending on the type of organizer students are using, I can pull those transition words that work best with the specific types of organizers for students to use as a resource when they need to smoothly transition one sentence to another. On page 207, you will find the Blackline Masters from which I made those cards. Notice you could use this just as one full page to look at all these transitions at one time. Or you can do what I did where I cut them up into different sections and made them in cards so the students would grab the card that they need for the type of organizer. So if they were writing with the categories organizer, they would grab this category's card. You can also make a wall chart for your students to use as a reference for transitions. In this case, I have a category section, a sequencing section, and description section. Depending on the organizer, category, sequence, or description, they would look at this wall chart for different transition words that they could use in their writing. We finished with all your tools for the body, choosing an organizer, writing details, and adding transitions. Next, let's look at our conclusion tools. In our conclusion, we'll write a conclusion and add a snappy ending. Inside of my conclusion file folder, I have my 2 cards to write my conclusion. I have my subject and big idea. So that I can repeat my topic sentence using different words, I can use my matching cards in order to write a conclusion. These cards are laminated, as well as a magnet is adhered to the back side of them so that I can put them up on a whiteboard or a magnet board to display for the students as we're writing our conclusion. They're laminated so that you can record the subject and the big idea for your conclusion on these cards in front of the students. The reason why you want to use these cards is because you can take the subject and big idea that you formed in your topic sentence, then add a second set of these cards right below that so that you can show the kids, up here was our subject in our topic sentence, let's now add a subject in our conclusion. What's another way that we can say that subject? Here's our big idea that we had in our topic sentence. Let's add a big idea in our conclusion and figure out another way that we could say that big idea. These are wonderful manipulatives, not only for you to form a conclusion, but also for you to match up with the S light bulb in the topic sentence. You will find the subject card on page 205 and the big idea card on 206. We formed our conclusion. Finally, we need our snappy ending tools. For our snappy ending, I have a flip book and a snappy ending chart card. For the flip book, please go to page 215. This is our snappy endings page where I have steps 1 and 2 of how to write a snappy ending. But what I want to show you in order to make the tool, I have stem words or frames that students can use. And I have 6 different types of stem words or frames that students can use that I suggest you could cut out and then mount on different pages and put in a flip book. And the reason why I did this is so that the students could see these different types of stems in isolation, so it's not so overwhelming. Please cut out each one of these sections of your page, mount them on tag board, and coil them together so that you have a little flip book to choose different types of stems your students can make their snappy endings with. On page 217 is a snappy ending chart that you can mount on tag board and display for your students to look at all the different ways that you can write a snappy ending. So notice we have ask a question and with an emotional statement. I have 12 different types of snappy endings displayed here for your students. In order to write these snappy endings and understand how to teach these to your students, I have a separate video for you to refer to for writing hooks and snappy endings. Please go to that video to understand how to use this chart and the other tools that I have for a snappy ending. So here we have my organizational system for all the tools that you will utilize in order to write informative explanatory text using an introduction, body, and conclusion.